Jake Slebodnick for your hometown radio stations and Renda Digital TV with another interview. This time it's Sam Shutty, head coach of the Northern Cambria Colts. Coach, it's good to talk with you today.
Yeah, same here.
Last time we talked was over the phone, and this was before we actually met in person. It was before the Lancey game, ironically, played here at Winburn Stadium. So it's good to finally meet, Coach. And now that Lancey game's behind us and the regular season for the next season is coming up in the forefront, I think now would be a great time as ever to talk about this sort of team. Coach, let's start last year. Last year, a bit of a rough spot for you guys, 2-8, 1-7, but you had a very young team. So with the negative, there is a lot of positive. You just want to give your overall thoughts on last year?
Yeah, I just believe last year inexperience was the factor for us. I think a lot of guys didn't know what it took to be successful. I think they just thought things were going to happen for them automatically. I'm not saying anything bad about our guys, but I think the preparation on all of our ends were not where it needed to be. And I think they realized that. I think they learned a lot of lessons, and I think they realized that they were good enough to play with people, but they needed to go just a little bit more and do a little bit more. And I think that comes with experience. And, you know, the year before last year, replacing the whole team, you know, we had a strong senior class 2 years ago, and having this year's juniors kind of fill in, you can't teach experience. You can't teach game time exposure, and they got that last year, and I'm already noticing the difference in our guys this year.
Does that sort of help make your job easier whenever they get to learn from their experiences, and that way they're locked in for the next year?
It does. And a lot of our guys are, you know, we have discussions and we talk about what we need to do to be successful, and, you know, all of those sorts of things that go into that. And, you know, a lot of them are already saying the types of things that they need to do and the types of things that they need to be saying to the players. And, you know, it's nice because there's a lot less teaching on my end because they already learned that sort of lessons.
What are some of the lessons that they've sort of, you know, brought to you saying, hey, we've learned from our mistakes last year and we're bringing it onto the field this year?
Well, first and foremost, this game needs to be fun, and I think they put too much pressure on themselves, and I think they set the standard and the bar too high, and when they don't reach that, they kind of crumble. And I think for us, it's getting to remember why they decided to play this game in the first place. This is a game where you know, build lifelong friendships, lifelong memories, and experiences that last forever. And, you know, playing with your buddies and you know, playing a game that you love is the most important thing that we want to stress, and not putting too much pressure on ourselves, because I think that's kind of like been our Achilles heel the last couple of years, is just putting way too much pressure on ourselves, and then when it comes time to perform, you know, kind of just crumbling a little bit.
With everybody moving up, obviously there was a few subtractions from the roster last year. I know you and I talked about one, Isaac Wagner. He did a really good job represented here in the Lancey game. One of two, Gavin, I believe Reck is how you say his last name? Rezik. Okay, Gavin Rezik is the other one who left. But what are your parting words to them as they leave and head on to their next chapter of life?
Well, I wish them luck. We're proud of them. We were glad, and I was fortunate enough to be their coach. You still talk to those guys on a regular basis. They, you know, once they become part of our team, they're always a part of our team, and they just live that legacy, you know, through the upcoming class. And you know, both of them have been very visual in our practice throughout the summer, and just very fortunate to have them in our life and in our team.
I saw you brought three of your players here we'll be talking to in a little bit. I would imagine they're some of the leaders on the team. Can you talk about who you brought with you and what they bring to the team, not just on the field but off of it too?
Yeah, Colton Pronish is the first guy I brought. He's going to be playing multiple positions for us based on the team we play. He's that type of guy that he's big and strong enough to be a running back on offense, but he's also fast enough and agile enough to be a wide receiver. So we're going to move him around formation, based on what the team strengths are defensively. Also the same thing on defense. He's big and strong enough to play linebacker, but also fast enough to play defensive back. So again, depending on the strengths of the defense, we're going to be moving him around quite a bit on both sides of the ball. Also, just a major leader off the field in the weight room, you know, getting guys to practices and, you know, just setting a good example in the weight room. The second guy I brought was Xander Delonsky. He's been with this program, it seems like forever. He's been starting off and on since he was a freshman. He'll be a four-year letterman. Again, just very talented what he does. He's a hybrid type of player where, again, he can play multiple positions and do multiple things for us. And, again, just looking for his leadership and his experience on both sides of the ball to propel us into a successful season. And lastly, I brought Ben Janosko. Ben's the type of kid that we've moved him around. He's a great team player. He's Defensively, I think he played every single position that you can possibly play, and he finally found a home at outside linebacker where we really, really like him. Same thing offensively. He kind of moved around a little bit. We talked about putting him in multiple positions, and he's settling in on a tight end spot and also flexing him out in the wide receiver. He really worked a lot on his strength and speed this year, and we really look to see good things for him, not only as a leader on and off the field, but in his production as well.
Let's focus ahead on this season coming up. You guys opened the season with a tough challenge on August 26th against Cambria Heights, obviously one of the newcomers last year, the conference champion, finishing in first place. And that game sort of sets the tone. So what do you guys need to do to come out against a strong competitor like that and set the tone on the right foot?
Well, like I kind of said before, we can't put pressure on ourselves. It's a football game, and it's our rival. It's our town rival. It's going to be a great environment for our kids and our community. It's going to be a home game for us, and we're going to have most of the town, and Cambria Heights travels well, so I expect Duffy Daughtry Stadium to be full. I expect our guys to have a great experience, and that's what we have to focus on. Because I think if we focus on anything else other than that, the pressure's on, and then we lose sight of why we're playing the game. So we're just going to try to minimize our mistakes and just play football.
Coach, any parting words to the fans before we head out today?
Just I think it's going to be a great year for football. The Heritage Conference is strong from the top down, and I really don't think any of our teams in this conference are going to disappoint anybody.
Coach, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Best of luck this season. Coach, Sam Shutty for the Northern Cambria Colts and Jake Slebodnick for Renda Digital TV.